That's their official name today is the Republic of China. Okay, that wow. How many of you had not absolutely no clue? Zero, zilch knowledge about that till right now. So evidently Taiwan's using a fake name at the Olympics or something. That's what this suggests. The thumbnail for this original video says fake name. It says Chinese Taipei. So I don't know what that's all about. But the original channel is Phil Edwards. The video is called Why Taiwan Isn't Taiwan at the Olympics. So we're gonna check that out. I didn't know they weren't.
Last week, traveling down the Seine was a boat for a country that doesn't exist. Chinese Taipei first appeared in the 1984 Winter Olympics as a forced rebrand for this, the Republic of China, or as I'll call it in this video, Taiwan. Here's the real Taiwanese flag.
Hold on. So Republic of China is the same as Taiwan. I mean, I know that China wants Taiwan back or something. Maybe it used to be part of them. I don't know. I'm going to go back just a little bit so I can hear that again.
Or as I'll call it in this rebrand for this, the Republic of China, or as I'll call it in this video, Taiwan. Here's the real Taiwanese flag. Here is what you get at the Olympics. This flag is only waved for sports. How did this happen? Why is Taiwan Chinese Taipei in the Olympics?
The Chinese from Taipei were so determined to stay in the games that they wanted to participate in everything.
This story doesn't
Chinese from Taipei. What? Have you guys heard of this? Because this is news to me.
just track UN votes and the history of China and Taiwan. This is way more complicated than what China wants. It's about an island that has competed under 6 different names at the Olympics in under a century. It's about what sports means on the world stage in poisoned orange juice. Yes, you heard me right. And it will make you think, maybe for the first time, about what's in a name. I need friends. Before you get to Chinese Taipei rolling up on the Seine, it all starts with the Taiwanese athlete, or as they once competed, Japan. I wanted to get in touch with you because of these papers that you've written. They're like oddly vivid, actually. And
did they just say that Taiwan once competed as Japan? Is this what I just heard? I'm sorry, we're going back again.
With the Taiwanese athlete, or as they once competed, Japan. I wanted to get in touch with you because of these papers that you've written. They're like oddly vivid, actually, and oddly like exciting storytelling about these sports dramas that have occurred. But you have this expertise in this very niche area of China and also Taiwan in sports. And I was just curious, how did you get into this?
When I lived in Taiwan for the first time in 1991, I first started at Donghai University, which is kind of on the outskirts of Taichung in central Taiwan, really beautiful campus. Moved downtown to be closer to the language school, and I ended up, by coincidence, living a couple blocks from the baseball stadium. Not knowing anything about the Japanese history of bringing baseball to Taiwan, obviously got to know that more closely. Basic interest in sports, and then just kind of bumping into these instances that just by themselves, like, they just pop open with such interesting historical facts and surprises and stuff.
For a period of 50 years, from 1895 until the end of World War II, Taiwan was a colony of Japan. This map is from 1894. It features China, Japan, and Formosa, what we'd call Taiwan now. Formosa is kind of foreshadowing, by the way, but it is a part of Taiwanese history. It's from the Portuguese Ilha Formosa, for beautiful island. In 1895, with a brief intervening independent rule, it went from China to Japan. You can see it at the edge of this 1933 map of the Japanese Empire. And in the Olympics, Taiwanese athletes competed as Japanese, even taking Japanese names like Seiken Cho.
In Taiwan, you got to choose if you
even
born. So Seiken Cho was born Chang Sang. Why would they change their name though? Like Saikan Show? Huh.
taking Japanese names like Seiken Cho.
In Taiwan, you got to choose if you wanted to take a Japanese name, but it was a way to show that you were all in. That same logic drives Taiwanese who volunteered to fight in World War II for Japan. They don't know that Japan is going to have to give back Taiwan in 1945. To them, we're Japanese.
Notice the flag on his shirt. It's Japan's. At the same time, China wasn't the People's Republic of China. They were the Republic of China from 1912 to 1949, and they took tentative steps onto the Olympic stage. In 1932, the Republic of China, it's just a guy. Their Olympic team is a guy and his coach, right? That's
obviously, they were hoping to be able to send more of a team than that, but this is the time of national crisis, and the Japanese have just invaded. And so it made it much more difficult for them to get a team together. If things had been better, they would have sent a full team like they did in 1936.
There was a brief pause in the Olympic Games after that because of the guy on page 7 of the Berlin Olympics report. But then, suddenly, you had a new name on the name tag. Japan had to give up Taiwan after World War II, and it was listed officially as China in the Olympics. You can see China here in the opening ceremony, and they were listed as China with this Republic of China flag. But it is in 1949.
Did they compete separately? Like, so China, like Big China, Little China, right? Or was it just China and there was just one team and some of them were Chinese and some were Taiwanese? Let me know down below if you know about that. Also, I wouldn't be mad at you if you hit like on the way down.
China with this Republic of China flag. But it is in 1949 that a new era truly began.
Since 1949, this narrow body of water has been both a symbolic and a realistic moat, separating the Taiwan island complex from the coast of the communist-held mainland of China.
The communist takeover of China turned the mainland into the People's Republic of China and Taiwan into the Republic of China because of all the people who fled there.
So there was two Chinas, kind of like there's two Irelands, two Koreas. Okay.
That makes this the new name for Taiwanese athletes. It is hard to overestimate the next 30 years of chaos and drama. This was the peak. Now Taiwan was the Republic of China, the country's official name even today. The U.S.
That's their official name today, is the Republic of China? Okay, wow. How many of you had absolutely no clue? Zero, zilch knowledge about that till right now. Comment about it.
USSR, making its Olympic debut, dragged the PRC into the next Olympics.
The 1952 Olympic Games are on.
This led to immediate conflict. The PRC went in the Olympics at the last minute, and the Republic of China boycotted in protest. Remember, they both believed that they were the real China. And so this Olympics naming controversy became a Cold War sideshow. The next Olympic year, 1956, you began a long period in which Taiwan, the Republic of China, was the sole representative at the Olympics.
The games are beginning.
They competed that year, and in 1960, they had an epic Olympics thanks to indigenous Taiwanese athlete C.K. Yang and American Rafer Johnson. The duo had been teammates at UCLA. They crumpled into each other at those 1960 Olympics, and Johnson won gold while Yang pulled silver. Seriously, this should be a movie. The best recounting of it is in Andrew Morse's paper, which I have linked on Patreon. And every time I put out a video, I also put out a free newsletter with a little article. And so that's what I've dedicated the article this time to, all about this friendship between Johnson and Yang, and also the coach that was kind of the glue for them to get together and compete so well at UCLA and at the Olympics. So if you want to see that, go there, sign up. It is totally free. You'll be able to read Andrew Morse's article at the link, and you can also read my pitch for what should totally be a movie.
C.K. Yang, being an indigenous Taiwanese who was born during the Japanese period, in this kind of far off, eastern part of Taiwan. The fact that in 1960 and 64 he's held up as the symbol of the Chinese nation was just fascinating.
But notice Yan's flag and TWN on the scoreboard, Republic of China flag, Taiwan abbreviation, yet they were formerly called Formosa that year. They used this name under protest, and it was an indicator of the tension over naming that still existed.
Trying to, again, thread that needle of make a protest, but not get in trouble and not endanger CK Young's chances.
By 1964, they became Taiwan at the Olympics, a name that they actually kind of didn't like.
You can imagine a very different history if they had accepted Taiwan. They'd be in the United Nations if they could have accepted Taiwan. Their history would be very different.
What? How? So they didn't like the name Taiwan, and because they didn't initially choose it, they're not in the United Nations? What does that even mean?
But it's only 15 years since that regime had to relocate from China to Taiwan. And there were a lot of people that were really hoping they could get back there, that the ROC could defeat the communists. So the government couldn't just say, forget it, we're here now, we're not going back. I mean, they had to keep talking about going back. Reconquest talk only really goes away in the very late 80s.
This feud also rippled onto the field. CK Yan was a Sports Illustrated cover model as the world's best athlete, and he was a favorite to win the decathlon in 1964. It was later revealed that his teammates were PRC spies who secretly poisoned his orange juice so that he wouldn't perform so well.
Wow.
He got the news 30 years later, and he'd never been quite sure what had happened and why he was just so out of sorts that day. Rayford Johnson wrote about it. I'm inclined to believe that narrative. After I published an article about him, I was contacted by a family member who said that they didn't think that he had been drugged. They thought that the narrative of him being drugged was one further political twist, that the government had had to make up this story of him being drugged in order to explain him not winning the gold medal and winning glory in 1964.
What do you think about it? Sir? Ma'am? Whoever you are?
Still, by the 1970s, they earned back that Republic of China name, and the PRC was still out. So the question you should have now is, how does the Republic of China get turned into Chinese Taipei over the next 10 years?
The meeting between the leaders of China and the United States is to seek the normalization of relations between the two countries.
I am showing you Nixon in China because everybody recognizes that, but it is also just a symbol of a broader point, which is that the PRC had a big coming out party in the 1970s. They were ready to vault onto the world stage in a bunch of ways, including at the Olympics. The UN essentially booted the Republic of China in favor of the PRC, and the United States normalized relations with the PRC while basically agreeing to kind of smile and nod at Taiwan without explicitly recognizing it.
Are you saying, so we did deals with the communist China? Is that what I'm hearing? And we snuffed Taiwan to the side? I gotta rehear that. I don't know anything about none of this. Clearly.
PRC. And the United States normalized relations with the PRC while basically agreeing to kind of smile and nod at Taiwan without explicitly recognizing it. China was getting closer to Olympic acceptance. To get in, you had to join sports federations, and China did that one by one, kind of like assembling an army. And in 1975, China did it. But the Chinese wanted Taiwan completely excluded from the Olympics. In 1976, the IOC was going to let Taiwan compete as a Republic of China, but Canada actually got in the way and said that they had to follow the PRC's rules. Taiwan refused.
And Trudeau has this great line where he says, "We love."
Why? Why does the Chinese get to make the rules up all of a sudden? I don't know.
PRC's rules. Taiwan refused.
And Trudeau has this great line where he says, "We love the Taiwanese, we just don't call them Chinese."
Taiwan boycotted Lake Placid, and both nations boycotted Moscow in 1980.
Yeah, I don't think of Taiwanese people as Chinese. To me, they're separate as well. But I don't. We're learning today, guys.
By 1984, Taiwan had less leverage and capitulated to the best option that they had. Not Republic of China, not Taiwan, but a new, very bizarre name: Chinese Taipei. The Chinese Taipei era is what has continued through to today, and it's weird.
One of the other problems with Chinese Taipei, besides it being absurd on the face of it, the Chinese name can also be played with. What in Taiwan they call Zhonghua Taipei, which is about the cultural Chineseness. In China, they take another meaning of the English word Chinese and call it Zhongguo Taipei, which means China the nation.
So is that why China's trying to say that Taiwan's part of them, and that's why the China government wants to take Taiwan and absorb it into China? And is this their claim? They're like, oh yeah, but you're piggybacking off the China name, so you must be part of our nationality? Huh.
Taipei that belongs to China the nation. That's kind of like the beauty of Chinese Taipei in a certain way, if such an absurd thing can be called beautiful, is that it incorporates both imaginations of that. You can imagine it's just the cultural Chineseness of most of Taiwan, or if you're on the PRC side, you can say, see, it's proof.
A couple of years ago, they had to agree to come as Chinese Taipei to carry only their national Olympic flag, not their national flag. China is now recognized to be the People's Republic of China.
Taiwan has occasionally rebelled against the mandatory name and flag.
We have a slight delay, a little bit of garbage on the track here at Canada Olympic Park.
In 1988, bobsledders were sternly warned for this. Do you see their flag on the helmet? The Republic of China, Taiwan flag on their helmet, instead of the Chinese Taipei one. This was breaking a big taboo, and they got in a lot of trouble for it. Protesters doing the same kind of thing with the flag have been arrested, even in the United States. But in 2018, this came to a head with a referendum that Taiwanese voters rejected. They decided it was better to be Chinese Taipei than not to compete at all. So let me tell you why I made this video. It is obviously really interesting to track the history of China and Taiwan through their Olympics appearances. And there's a lot there. But I actually made it because my last video was about the 1980 boycott in Moscow, and I came down pretty clearly on one side. I thought the boycott was a bad idea. But then I did a poll on YouTube and Spotify, and it became clear that to a lot of you, the situation was more complicated than that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Chinese Taipei, the choice is like super crystal clear. Here you have national identity. What is more important to that? Is it getting to compete in the Olympics, or is it the name that you get to use? Which one of these matters to you?
But
do you play with you? Do you play with this to you?
Hold on. Right here. At least they still have their little sun thing that's from their flag. So it's the sun from their flag with the Olympic symbol. So they still got a little bit of the Taiwanese in there. But still, it's still confusing. Even after this video of it explaining it, I'm still like, I don't know. If you're from China, if you're from Taiwan, if you're watching this, maybe you're not from there. Maybe you're from somewhere else. You got family that lives there. You visited, or you just have some knowledge. Fill us all in the comment section, because I don't think I'm the only one that's going to be confused here.
That you get to use. Which one of these matters to you? Do you play with the name tag that's given to you? Or do you sit out until you can choose what's written on it?
Just put Taiwan on there. Simple.
Hey, that's it for
simple, simple. Easy peasy. Japanesey. I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. Oh, there goes my phone making notification sounds. Anyways, let me know what you think. I think they should just keep it Taiwan. Make it Taiwan. Everybody should just get along. China needs to leave Taiwan alone. I'm sorry. If you're part of the Chinese Communist government, sorry, that's my advice. Deal with it. Let people be. Stop war. Just be happy. Put the guns down. Go give somebody a hug. You guys have a super fun, awesome day. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.